Hi, it's Rabba Rona with your weekly Torah message in times of Corona. This week we're reading Parashat Emor. And in this parasha, we read about the instructions to the Kohanim, the priestly class, when one of their own passes away. And for most of us who are not Kohanim and who don't live in the land of Israel in the times of the temple, this reading has always seemed very abstract because this is a set of commandments that we can't ever follow. We only learn about them because this is something that our ancestors followed, and Kohanim, those whose ancestors were priests, follow in certain ways today. But we do know that those who were in the priests did find a certain isolation when they lost someone in their family. They could not, if they were the Kohen Gadol, for instance, they could not go to the funeral for their own family, for their parents, for their spouse, for their children, for their siblings. They couldn't even go to those funerals. And if they were a regular Kohen, a regular priest, they could go to a funeral for the closest of relatives, but not relatives further away. And this kind of isolation is something that we as regular Jews in modern times really didn't understand until now. Why now? Because of the coronavirus crisis. We have all heard many cases where people are dying alone in hospitals or suffering alone in hospitals because of the coronavirus. We can't go and visit our loved ones. Or if we're somebody who is ill and we're sitting alone in the hospital, we feel horribly alone. And what are we to do about this? And if we lose somebody, we can't have a regular funeral because of social distancing, and we can't have Shiva Minyanim. We can't have a minyan during Shloshim. We can't go say Kaddish on a regular basis throughout Shana for our parents. Everything has been thrown in disarray during this crisis, and we don't know when it's going to end. Many people are talking about planning for High Holy Day services right now, and that's 4.5 months from now. And we don't know what's going to be then. We don't know what's going to be tomorrow, let alone 4.5 months from now. And so if you're somebody who is grieving a loved one, especially a parent for whom you say Kaddish for a full year, it's especially challenging. Now, sure, there are a lot of congregations out there who are doing a Zoom minyan. And there are a lot of rabbis who have said that you can, in fact, fulfill your obligation to say Kaddish by doing Kaddish over the minyan on Zoom. But let me tell you, I don't imagine that it feels the same. I personally haven't been there. I'm not in mourning. I can't begin to imagine how you're feeling if you are someone who has lost somebody right now. My heart goes out to you because I don't know. But I can only imagine how horrible this is for you right now, to be isolated, to not have the community around you. Because Jewish mourning rites are built around the community holding up the mourner. We surround you at the burial site. We surround you in your home after the funeral. We feed you after the funeral. We come to your home during Shiva and we daven with you and we support you during Shiva. At the end of Shloshim, we support you. Throughout the year, We make sure that there's a minyan so you can say Kaddish every day if that's what you wish. We do all of these things because this is what a community does. And right now, everything is disrupted. I know this academically, intellectually, but I don't know it in my kishkas because I'm not experiencing it. But I know as a pastoral care provider how many people there are out there that are hurting. And I see you and I feel for you. So this year, especially this portion of Emor, is no longer an abstract concept. We're all a nation of Kohanim, as it says in the Torah. We're all a nation of priests. We're all living that isolation that the Kohanim, the priests, do when they are prohibited from leaving their duties when they lose somebody, because we can't leave our duty to safety. Remember that a couple weeks ago when we learned Parashat Emor, we learned the concept of pikuach nefesh, doche et Shabbat, v'et kol hamitzvot, that saving a life transcends all other commandments. And that's Davka what we're doing right now. We are working very hard to save lives. But does that make us feel good when we're suffering such loss? Of course not. It feels awful. And this is a hole in our hearts, in our kishkas, that I don't know if we're ever going to repair. And so this is something that we have to work on. And this is something that everybody around you has to help you with the best they can. And so it's my blessing to you if you're in mourning, that the community is still supporting you by feeding you, even if it means that they're leaving casseroles on your front doorstep instead of serving you a plate during Shiva. That the community is still making minyans for you, even if it's on Zoom instead of in your living room. That the community is still making minyans for you during Shloshim and Shana if you're mourning a parent. That everybody is supporting you and holding you up the best that we can, because these are unknown times for us. Yes, there have been plagues before, and we've gone through things before. But back during the Spanish flu in 1918, we didn't have the dispersal that we have today. People lived in small communities and they could walk to be near each other. Today, we are all spread out all over the place. And that's why these electronic forms of communications like Zoom have become so prolific and so necessary. It would be wonderful if we could all live in little communities together again, but that would bring other issues as well. So are we better off like this? I can't say. What I can say is that we all have to hold each other up, and that's what we're all trying to do right now in these very trying times. If you have lost somebody through the coronavirus or through some other reason, I bless you. Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Shar Avelot Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the omnipresent one comfort you among all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And I bless you that we should find happier days in the future. And I wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom Uvorach, blessed and peaceful Shabbat.